that was the impetus for it. So, and some of this really relates back to the story of the foot as well, because, well, you know my brand. It's named Barefoot, like as in a bear, and it really is. My partners actually approached me because I've been doing education around foot mechanics for a number of years, and they had this idea. And they're like, "Hey, we want to do this brand inspired off of your background running around the wilderness, barefoot in the wilderness with
With bears potentially.
like that is like my upbringing." And later in life, I became, this engineer. Then I became a corporate executive, and I'm wearing what I call my fancy pants and my dress shoes. And I was a competitive, I've always been a very physical person as well. And so I was competing in powerlifting, and I started getting this set of injuries, and it just kind of sent me on this deep dive. And the deep dive was in this clinical perspective around developmental kinesiology and a lot of movement patterns. And over the course of that, the concept around the foot and then its impact on position and the diaphragm and just the whole connectedness of it. And it really brought me back to where I was growing up, right? And, I was spending all day long walking around on concrete and factory floors wearing my fancy dress shoes and living that life. And I was starting to get a culmination of injuries, starting to explore these concepts. And at that point, I kicked the shoes off. I kicked the shoes off, not in the work environment, but in my training environment. I owned a gym, and I just started going shoeless with all of my training and started doing foot strengthening exercises. And it was incredible what it started doing for me. So I was a decently nationally ranked powerlifter. But over the next year and a half of exploring these techniques, I became one of the best. And at the time, and still even years afterwards, there were people like, "Oh my God, he deadlifted 1,000 pounds and he did it without shoes. Oh my God, can you imagine like what he would do without that handicap?" And I'm like, no. It's the other way around. That was the performance enhancement.